Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
What was the worst gift you received for Christmas? My grandmother was a piece of work. One year myself and my two cousins were at her house for Christmas morning. All the family was there and there was a big, gorgeous pile of presents wrapped in the corner. Me and my cousins, were promptly told that those gifts were for the other grandchildren. When we gave our grandma the blank stare of confused children, she hurried back into her room, threw an old Ziploc bag down at the ground between us full of half-used nail polish and broken jewelry and told us Merry Christmas. It was the first Christmas my father and current stepmother had together. My step-siblings each got a new laptop computer. I got a $20 gift card to McDonald's. Edit, redundant word edit 2, I guess I should provide a bit more detail on the situation. I like my current stepmother way more than I like my dad. Earlier that year, my previous stepmom, dad's wife number 3, my mother was number 2, screwed my dad over royally and put him tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And he wanted to impress her by gifting nice shit to her kids. He didn't have enough money to treat us all to nice electronics. I have 2 sisters. So we 3 were just an afterthought. Young me thought it was bullshit. And more resentment towards him was added to the pile. But as I got older, I can kind of see what he was trying to do. It was just really shitty execution on his part. XGF gave me book on the history of gunpowder. I admit I enjoyed it as it was an interesting read. Problem was, I had already read it 2 months prior. Because she had already given me a copy as my birthday gift. My BFF got 3 copies of a book. Because I 100% forgot I bought it for her. It was on a subject she is interested in and I have memory problems. The funny thing is, she wasn't gonna tell me after the second one. I found the first one in her room like a week later and was horrified. I got her a different book and traded. And then bought it a third time because it had a new cover. She did tell me that time. Just because she thought it was hilarious. Again, I traded it out for a new book. But now I generally make her send me a wish list and just pick something off that for her. Closing parenthesis. Growing up, my mom was either amazing at holidays, birthdays, etc., or scary. One year, when I was about 13, she was particularly scary. We didn't have a tree. No decorations were up. Nothing. We were all too afraid to say anything, in case one of us set her off. Until my dad got pissed at her, went and bought a tree and told us to decorate it however we wanted. He helped us with the lights and star, while my mom sulked in her room. Christmas Eve came and under the tree were these large bulky looking presents. We were all excited to open them. Because we got one present to open Christmas Eve and we knew there was no way those were pajamas. We all opened them excited to find huge lumps of coal. My youngest siblings began to cry. My dad sent all of us downstairs to watch Christmas movies on TV. And locked himself and my mom in their bedroom. It was muffled, but that is honestly the only time I remember my dad ever screaming at my mother. Afterward he came downstairs and calmed my younger siblings down. Reassured them that they had been good and Santa would still come. After the kids had gone to bed, my dad called me upstairs and asked me to help him wrap all the presents except mine. The next morning my mom was up early, made us cinnamon rolls, hers are the best I've ever had, and acted as if nothing had happened. I don't know exactly what my dad said, but she was never that bad again, even though there were a few times she came close. Years later, she finally agreed to see someone about it. And they diagnosed her as manic depressive. The doctor said that stress had triggered her. And honestly that had been a stressful year for our family. Since she was treated, she's been the most amazing mother and grandmother ever. And it makes me sad she didn't get help sooner. We would have had the most amazing childhoods. And luckily my nephews and nieces got to have this version of my mom. Instead of what we had. My non-favorite grandparents once gave me a Peter Parker doll when I was like 17. I mean a doll too. I could undress him if I so pleased. He didn't come with a Spidey costume either, haha. I am going to answer for my sister. When I was about 5 making her 9, our uncle, aunt, cousin family asked me what my sister liked. I had no idea. All I knew was she liked to yell at me. So I dumbly replied she liked hair ties. For Christmas that year my sister received an assortment of an insanely high number. Like 200 different high ties. Scrunches. ECT. She didn't let me live that down for a long time. Lol, what is it about family discovering one detail about a kid and making out like it's their biggest passion? I used to have an ornithologist come to speak with our class once a fortnight because our primary school teacher was really into birds. So I learn a lot about birds. Except, I wasn't really into birds. But my parents told everybody how cute it is that I know so much about birds. For the next couple of birthdays and Christmases, all I got was bird books. So many books about birds. It's been 20 years and I still absolutely hate birds. A set of salt and pepper shakers. The gifts were donated to us and I don't know how they forgot my parents had 4 kids. Oh God, flashbacks to the donated gift program. I grew up in group homes and that's usually how we got Christmas gifts. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful here. I'm really not. But some people never freaking read the descriptions. Some highlights over the years, I asked for some clothing and gave my shirt and pants size. They gave me them in toddler sizes. I was a teenager at the time. People don't realize that teenagers can be in group homes too, I guess. Or that I was the one who wrote the note and not the parents. A crochet kit that was already used. It was missing the hook. One time someone tried to be really nice and fulfilled the expensive gift on my wish list. A specific video game I wanted. They got the Xbox 360 version when the house had a Wii. For the record, I did specify which one we had. Someone meant well but wasn't very knowledgeable. A weird porcelain doll. Let's ignore the fact I'm about as tomboy as they come. Those are banned where I stayed due to being easily breakable. That was the only gift I got that year and it had to be taken away immediately. I grew up really poor and received some batteries for an old toy car I already had, lol. Looking back at it, it's kind of funny, but I remember crying when that happened. I was 7. My dad would always wrap any required batteries for presents separately. He'd also decide what order we opened things in and always had us open the battery presents first. With no idea what they would go to. Thanks for reminding me of a quirky memory. When I still lived with my parents, they got me a Cards Against Humanity deck. Right after I opened it, they told me I'm not allowed to play it until I turned 18. I was 15 at the time. My mom rarely cared what gift we might actually want or what our personal tastes were, and most often she would select a gift based on her own personal tastes. In the late 80s she decided to buy me a stereo as the main, large gift for whatever reason, and she selected a Fisher-Price, the children's toy brand, turntable, record player. This is after CD players were invented and of course nobody played records anymore. The worst part was that she decided to treat this stereo as some sophisticated equipment that was too good for a child to play with, so after Christmas she stored it in its original box in our attic, where it has remained until this day. It was supposed to just be stored there until some arbitrary time, but my mom is a huge procrastinator and that time never came. I'm still salty that she wasted all the money on that stupid gift rather than on something I might have enjoyed and actually got to use. My cousin's parents would get her gifts for birthday, Christmas that were always above her age range. When she was 8 she got gifts for kids ages 10 plus, and when she was 10, for kids ages 12 plus, and etc. She'd open the gift, and then get it immediately taken away because, "You're not old enough yet." I visited my cousin a few times in our late teens and would see those gifts in their unwrapped plastic packaging up in a closet. She said she wasn't allowed to open them since she was too old for kid stuff. Edit, if it makes anyone feel better, my aunt was the one perpetrating most of the bad gift giving, but my uncle ignored it because he didn't want to deal with her attitude. She had a history of being petty with most things she did. Eventually my uncle had a talk with her about her poor behavior with her immediate and extended family, longer story. She's much better as a person and nicer to everyone now. My uncle makes sure to speak up when she's being not so nice. And my cousin is married with a small kid and is also pretty happy. My mom took me to her boyfriend's family Christmas party in rural Michigan once. Someone gave me the year in Clemson Football, 1993. It was very nice that someone thought enough to give me a gift, but 9-year-old me really struggled with the logic behind the purchase. Every year, my grandma would send me clothing for a 6-year-old. Seems like the concept of my brother and I actually growing escaped her. After a few years of this, my mom got tired of her wasting her money on this and told her to just send my mom the money and she would buy the gift. Just send a card. When I was 15, I really wanted a dog. My mom knew this. Cue Christmas morning. After we had opened any other presents, my mom came back with one last one. It was a wrapped box with holes in the sides. Bouncing, moving some, and puppy barks of cuteness. I got so excited to open it and meet my new best friend. When I opened it, it had a stuffed animal puppy, not taxidermized. Closing parenthesis comma, a Bumble ball toy, and a small tape recorder with puppy barks. My heart sank and I just sat there and cried. My divorced parents pooled their money to buy me a Gameboy Color. The problem was they'd already got me a Gameboy Color. But I guess they didn't understand that it was the same one and thought it was new. They both looked so excited as I opened it I didn't have the heart to tell them. So I just kept playing my one game on my new Game Boy Color. My parents got me an acoustic guitar one Christmas. Problem, my brother was the one who asked for a guitar. Not me. So essentially my Christmas present was seeing my brother absolutely gutted. Meanwhile I had to pretend I was happy. Awkward. Update, I shared the guitar with my brother while I pretended to enjoy learning to play it. This lasted for about a month before I let my bro completely take over the guitar. He got his own electric guitar that same year for his birthday. Took guitar lessons. Joined a band. The whole shebang. Smiley face. He still plays to this day. 17 years later. Me? I hate playing guitar. Hurts my fingers. A couple years ago my dad registered me to see a few of my favorite shows taped in NYC. I got super excited about it but then realized that he wouldn't be paying for anything and expected me to stay with my narcissistic grandma in New Jersey who I avoid as much as possible. Then I found out that not only were the tickets to see the tapings free, but he had already told my grandma I'd be staying with her and she had all sorts of yard work and stuff ready for me to do for her once I arrived. Obviously, I didn't go and my dad is still bitter that I didn't appreciate his gift. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. See you next time.